Chapter 4 4.1 Ancient Most Knowledge. The Eternal Triad described. Originator the Brahm. Ishwar speaks. Verse number 1. Shri Krishna speaks as Brahm. Brahm Ishwar, had explained this concept of Avyayam Yogam, hereafter refers to as the Eternal Triad, eternal conjointness, to Vivaswan. Vivaswan explained this concept of Avyayam Yogam, hereafter refers to as the Eternal Triad, eternal conjointness, to Manu. Manu explained this concept of Avyayam Yogam, hereafter refers to as the Eternal Triad, eternal conjointness, to Ikshvaku. Comments. The second self alter ego Shri Krishna speaks as the self, the Brahm. Shlok number 1 to 3 of chapter 4 may be read together. Shri Krishna in the above shlok sets out the ancient history and origin of the eternal triad. The concept of eternal triad has been given by the Brahm and repeated by his alter ego Shri Krishna in chapter 2 and 3 of the sermon. The nucleus of the same has been stated inter alia in shlok numbers 15, 25, 36, 39, 48, 50, 72 of chapter 2, numbers 9 to 13 of chapter 3, 22 of chapter 3, etc. However, it may be clarified that the concept of eternal triad has been detailed and explained in most of the shloks after chapter 2 and 3, ICH 4 to 18, including shlok number 12 of chapter 12. The processual part of the words eternal triad, Avyayam Yogam, denotes a combination of the following. 1. Collection of correct information, knowledge, Jnana Yoga. 2. Correct analysis, i.e. applied intellect, Buddhi Yoga, including rationality, Sankhya, and correct decisions. 3. To take correct action, Karma Yoga, after preparation. The above 3 steps processes are being referred to as the triad. The eternal triad will include the principles, teachings, etc. set out in chapter 2 and 3 of the sermon, Sheesh. Number 3 of Ch 4. What Shri Krishna tells Arjun is that the concept of eternal triad in its entirety as set out in chapter 2 and 3 was the knowledge imparted by Brahm Ishwar himself. How the life was to be lived by humans, covering birth to death and thereafter heaven, higher planets and moksha as auto-elevations, was expounded by the Brahm Ishwar. Therefore, any other way of life was a deviation from the correct way of life as expounded by the Brahm Ishwar. Shri Krishna has, in the sermon of the Bhagwat Gita, tried to correct the aberrations. 4.2 Great Yoga, Eternal Triad. Pushed into oblivion. Ishwar speaks. Verse number 2. This concept of eternal triad conjointness combination, yoga, in this manner was passed on to and by eminent scientists, researchers, philosophers. However, this seems to have been pushed into oblivion over a period of time, here, in this world, O Arjun. Comments. The second self alter ego Shri Krishna speaks as the self, the Brahm. Shlok numbers 1 to 3 of chapter 4 may be read together. The above shlok clearly and undoubtedly shows that the original and correct theory of life from birth to death and thereafter to heaven, to higher planet, to moksha, as an auto-elevation was expounded by the Brahm Ishwar and has been reiterated by Shri Krishna as alter ego of Brahm Ishwar in chapters 2 and 3, particularly inter alia in shlok numbers 15, 25, 36, 39, 48, 50, 72 of chapter 2, numbers 9 to 13, 22 of chapter 3 etc. of the Bhagwat Gita and their own conduct of Brahm and Shri Krishna as indicated inter alia in Shlok numbers 15, 25 of chapter 1. These also clarify that Shri Krishna was a warrior on the side of the Pandavas and not a mere charioteer. 4.3 Excellent and Ancient Yoga, Eternal Triad. Brahm's words. The only path. Ishwar speaks. Verse number 3. Today I, Brahm, have explained to you the esoteric, less known, teachings etc. of the excellent and ancient eternal triad, because you are a believer in Brahm's teachings etc. and friendly. Comments. The second self alter ego Shri Krishna speaks as the self, the Brahm. Shlok numbers 1 to 3 of chapter 4 may be read together. The purpose of Shlok numbers 1 to 3 of chapter 4 was to show the ancientness of the concept of the excellent eternal triad, its origin and its originator. The words of praise used for yoga, yog, are 1. Eternal, sh. Number 1 of chapter 4, 2. Great, sh. Number 2 of chapter 4, and 3. Excellent and ancient, 3 of chapter 4. 4.4 Arjun speaks. Verse number 4. Arjun inquires from Shri Krishna that Vivaswan was much older than and existed much before you, Shri Krishna, were born in this world. Therefore, how can I understand that you, Shri Krishna, instructed Vivaswan about this concept, Avyayam Yogam, at the beginning? Comments. Shlok numbers 4 to 9 of chapter 4 may be read together. 4.5 Ishwar speaks. Verse number 5. Shri Krishna speaks as Brahm, I have had many lives in the past, in the sense that many alter egos of Brahm had appeared. You, Arjun, have had many lives in the past. You have no memory of any of them. I have memory of all of them, O Parantak. Comments. The second self alter ego Shri Krishna speaks as the self, the Brahm. In Shlok number 4 of chapter 4, Arjun is talking to Shri Krishna as person to person. Arjun is not aware of Shri Krishna being the alter ego of the Brahm Ishwar but speaking as Brahm. He is also not aware that the Brahm Ishwar has had alter egos in the past. Arjun had births earlier. Shri Krishna as Brahm's alter ego has full knowledge of all past events. It is necessary to clarify that the concept of eternal triad, Avyayam Yogam, was given by Brahm Ishwar personally to Vivaswan as declared in Sh. number 1 of ch. 4. Brahm is immortal and unborn. Having stated about many lives of himself, Ishwar Brahm clarifies in Sh. number 6 of ch. 4 as to the sense-I appearance of his alter egos, his second selves. This proves that Shri Krishna was the alter ego, see next Sh. number 6 of ch. 4, of Ishwar Brahm and not Ishwar Brahm born as Shri Krishna. 4.6 Brahm is a living entity person. Brahm Ishwar does not descend, take birth. His alter ego does. Maya. 3 levels. Ishwar speaks. Verse number 6. Brahm has had no origin, unborn, and is immortal living entity person. Brahm is the creator of all living beings. Also, Brahm has created nature. By controlling nature and its processes, and of his own volition power, Brahm causes his alter ego to manifest. Comments. The second self alter ego Shri Krishna speaks as the self, the Brahm. Shlok numbers 4 to 9 of chapter 4 may be read together. It is necessary to remind ourselves that the chapters 1 to 3 of the sermon of Bhagwat Gita are a bit different. These deal with the background of the views, concepts, goals, conduct and results, doubts, disputes etc., except for a passing reference in Shlok numbers 22 and 23 of chapter 3 relating to Brahm's activities. Twin personalities. In chapter 4, Sri Krishna discloses himself as the Brahm's alter ego. Therefore, when reference is made to earlier lives in number 5 of ch.4, it is really to existences of Brahm's alter egos. For the sake of convenience, better understanding and reference, it is stated that a part of the mysterious myriad powers of the Brahm Ishwar are exercised through an agency, which has been defied and is called Yog Maya. The shlok also refers to the nature, which is part of the universe created by the Brahm Ishwar. Nature also has the mysterious powers qualities, all not being discernible. The effects caused due to nature on the living beings are also commonly referred to as the Maya. The totality of the impacts effects caused due to nature on the living beings are also generally referred to in these comments as the trio. These are 1. Fruitive goodness, Sattva. 2. Fruitive keenness, Rajas, and 3. Fruitive ignorance, Tamas. Please inter alia, refer to Shlok numbers 39, 45 of chapter 2, numbers 27 to 34 and 37 to 43 of chapter 3, number 10 of chapter 4, number 29 of chapter 5, numbers 12 and 15 of chapter 7, number 20 of chapter 13, numbers 5 to 20 and 26 of chapter 14, numbers 1 and 2 of chapter 17 etc. Further, the materialistic outlook, the desire and the desired both, for wealth etc. in life of individuals or their groups is also described as Maya in common parlance, which is actually part of the fruitive ignorance, tamas, stated above. Brahm Ishwar created the universe with all its contents including what is described as nature as also the living beings. Obviously, his powers are unlimited and unfathomable. Part of the same are his myriad mysterious powers, which are known only to him. When he created nature as part of the universe, he seems to have bestowed some of his mysterious powers to nature. All the powers including the processes, products, procedure, functions etc. hidden in the womb of nature are not discernible. Therefore, powers of nature can be said to be mysterious also. Subsequent to the creation of nature and the living beings, developments of many kinds were natural as a result of interaction of what was created. This was over a period of countless years. It is accepted by modern science that there is some commonality between different living beings. As already stated more particularly under Shlok number 37 of chapter 3, the instincts which developed, persist through body forms may evolve further on. In fact, are in an invisible manner even today, in the living beings as the trio. The commonality mentioned above is due to the fact that the spark of life, the soul, in all living beings, is a fragment of the Brahm. Further, the body molds of the living beings are made of the same materials, more or less. Commonality could vary in different forms of life. The above shlok is really reflective of not only of the fact that the Brahm Ishwar by subduing controlling the nature including its processes etc. and of his own volition i.e. exercise of his mysterious powers, he manifests causes appearance of his alter ego on the horizon. Shri Krishna, being the alter ego of the Brahm, has used the word I to refer to the Brahm Ishwar also in the sermon. Therefore, the above shlok is cast in this manner. That is the very characteristic and peculiarity of an alter ego. That is why Shri Krishna speaks in first person in most part of the sermon, particularly where powers etc. of the Brahm Ishwar and their exercise are related. The Bhagwat Gita in the above shlok and shlok number 3 of chapter 8 defines Brahm as the indestructible, divine living entity person. From this definition it is crystal clear that the Brahm has a body. Bodies of living beings are not alike. Therefore, the use of the expression alter ego will be proper and correct. However, it may be clearly understood that the alter ego is a mortal being and not an immortal person. He may be manifested by his taking a birth, unlike the Brahm who does not take a birth. The soul of an alter ego merges back into the Brahm on death automatically. The soul of any other living being does not merge with the soul of the alter ego. Shlok number 9 of chapter 4 clearly proves that Brahm's alter ego was manifested. Brahm did not descend or take birth. In such situations, the Brahm Ishwar remains as he was with full glory, powers etc. as a separate living entity person. Shlok numbers 7 and 8 of chapter 4 may be correctly understood in view of the correct meaning of the expression Atmamaya given in Shlok number 6 of chapter 4 above. Brahm Ishwar may have any number of alter egos at one time. Note 1. The expression Atma Maya has been translated in the Sanskrit English dictionary as follows, issued out from one's own self, published by Parimal Publications, Delhi, edition 2008 by Pandit Ishwar Chandra, page number 205. 2. The expression alter ego has been defined in Illustrated Oxford Dictionary, edition 2006, in India, as under I. A person's secondary or alternative personality. 2. Literally other self. In view of the above clear definition of the expression Atmamaya extracted above and the definition of expression alter ego, the expression alter ego has been accepted and used for the expression Atmamaya in Shlok number 6 of chapter 4 above and in other shloks of the sermon. The very purpose of Shlok number 6 of chapter 4 above is to explain and clarify the process of manifestation of an alter ego. In number 7 of ch.10, the process of manifestation of an alter ego has been reaffirmed. In spite of the uniqueness of an alter ego, it may be understood that the words of the shlok are of the Brahm Ishwar. He speaks as the Brahm which he can as the second self. The use of the word incarnate for Shri Krishna will not be correct. 3. In view of the definition of the expression alter ego given above, Shri Krishna is also referred to as the second self in this book. The Brahm being the self. 4. A reference may be made to Shlok number 3 of chapter 11, where Arjun addresses Shri Krishna both as Parmeswar and as Purushottama. This is quite clearly supporting the view taken above. A reference may also be made to Shlok number 14 of chapter 10, where Arjun addresses Shri Krishna as Bhagwan Vyaktin. This is most revealing and supports the concept of the Brahm's alter ego as set out above. 6. Please also see Shlok number 14 of chapter 11, where Sanjay describes that Arjun with joined hand bowed to Shri Krishna after seeing the omni-body of Ishwar Brahm. 7. The word Sambhavami has a wider connotation than the word Janma, Janmani. Janma, Janmani could be one of the ways of manifestation. 4.7. Brahm Ishwar does not descend, take birth. Why alter ego does? Purpose of life. Ishwar speaks. Verse number 7. Whenever there is degeneration overtaking, happens, of what ought to be done, dharm, O Bharat, and what ought not to be done, adharm, becomes prevalent, rampant, then Brahm creates his alter ego, manifests him, whether by birth or otherwise, to undo the degeneration and to restore what ought to be done, what is right, dharm. Comments. The second self, alter ego, Shri Krishna speaks as the self, the Brahm. Shlok numbers 4 to 9 of chapter 4 may be read together. Shri Krishna in the above shlok clarifies to Arjun that the Brahm, the creator, causes his alter ego to appear in society whenever there is general depravity, perversion of righteousness, morality, and the condition of the society is not being corrected. The background provided in shlok number 6 of chapter 4 be kept in view for interpreting the above shlok. Shlok number 7 and 8 of chapter 4 clearly lay down the purpose of life, particularly for all human beings. The purpose of life has to be to take actions which disallow and prevent the causes of degeneration, etc. For convenience and clarity, Brahm has provided his teachings, etc. to be the line of control of humans. In India, most people know about the social, moral, political, etc. conditions when Shri Krishna appeared on the scene in ancient India. Most people outside India may not know the then prevalent conditions. Only by way of illustration, it is submitted that the depravity, general degeneration in society can well be judged by a few instances. 1. Gambling was rampant in society, including in the king's court. 2. A wife could be put up in the game of dice as a stake even in the king's court. 3. No hesitation was shown when pulled by the hair. Draupadi was forcibly brought into the king's court. The king, Bhishma Pitahama, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, etc., extraordinary men warriors, were muted witnesses. 4. Draupadi, in an open and full king's court with so many extraordinary men warriors present, was shamefully sought to be disrobed. Not a single voice of dissent was raised except by Vidur. Draupadi was the king's daughter-in-law and wife of the 5 Pandavas. One can easily imagine what must have been the social, moral, etc. conditions and thinking and practices, etc. in then society. Shlok number 9 of chapter 4 clearly proves that Brahm's alter ego was manifested. Brahm personally did not descend or take birth. 4.8. Brahm Ishwar does not descend, take birth. Why alter ego does? Common men. Ishwar speaks. Verse number 8. Brahm causes to manifest his alter ego. Brahm causes the birth of his alter ego in different periods of time, with the object of destroying the evildoers, oppressors, to protect the common simple people and to re-establish what ought to be done, what is right, dharma. Comments. The second self, alter ego, Shri Krishna speaks as the self, the Brahm. Shloks numbers 4 to 9 of chapter 4 may be read together. The 3, number 6 to 8 of ch.4 shloks relate to the alter egos of the Brahm in different conditions. The shloks clearly show that the Brahm is ever watchful of the goings on in the universe. The shloks also clearly show that the Brahm considers that the universe which he has created should be a peaceful place for all living beings, not for humans only. This will include all flora and fauna. when the conditions become so bad that the common man is depressed beyond the degree of tolerance, or if the conditions are so virulent and intolerable and human agencies fail to take corrective steps or are unable to take corrective steps, or when the views and practices, norms of life become perverted or dangerous and likely to weaken the society in general. The Creator, i.e. the Brahm, is convinced of his intervention, and he cannot depend even on his emissaries, messengers, or the deities. The Brahm causes the creation birth of an alter ego. This view that an alter ego is sent made to appear is also supported by Numbers 11 to 13 of ch.9. For those who are not aware of the condition of the society when Sri Krishna was manifested, a few facts are stated only by way of illustration. There were many cruel but very strong kings like Kans, Jayadratha, etc., who had even demons at their command. Such kings committed oppression and cruelty on anyone. They were so powerful that their tyranny was unchallengeable. Therefore, Sri Krishna was manifested to liquidate such persons. Shlok Numbers 7 and 8 of chapter 4 show that the direct intervention by the Brahm is not dependent on any public prayers or invocations by the living beings. The direct intervention in the affairs of the universe is caused by the ever-watchful Brahm and on his assessment of the need of his intervention. It may be clearly understood that for Brahm's alter egos, in Shlok Numbers 6 to 8 of chapter 4, specific words Sambhavami Atma Mayaya, Atmanam Shrajami Aham and Sambhavami have been used. Therefore, any other interpretation except causing of the manifestation of an alter ego cannot be correct. Number 9 of ch.4 clearly proves that the Brahm's alter ego was manifested. Brahm did not descend or take birth. It should be clearly understood that when the Brahm's alter ego is created, the Brahm remains as he was before, with all his powers, etc. There is no vacancy, so to say. Of the myriad mystic powers and abilities of the Brahm, creation of an alter ego is a very small exercise. Brahm may create more than one alter ego at the same time and send them to different parts of the universe. Shlok Numbers 7 and 8 of chapter 4 do not say that the Brahm's alter ego walked out of a forest or descended from a mountain. Brahm decided to send an alter ego on this earth to be born as Sri Krishna. This was in view of the conditions social, moral, political, prevailing in general, as also the aberrations in the thinking processes, views, theories, propounded, practices, ceremonies, religionism, all encouraging selfishness, arbitrariness. This required his intervention in the affairs of human beings. This was particularly to deal with and to quell the forces causing the general degradation, women's sad plight, oppression, cruelty, etc. Brahm's alter ego personally and through others tried to clean up and improve the conditions prevailing. Good governance tests indicated common men. Sri Krishna naturally thought it fit to reiterate Brahm's ancient most teachings, etc., the values, practices and actions required by the society when such an occasion was incidentally provided by the weakening and escapist Arjun in the battlefield in Kurukshetra. The perplexed, unclear and sometimes contradictory ways and practices in the society were explained, pruned and even rooted out by Sri Krishna in no uncertain terms. If during all periods of time and by all generations, the teachings etc. of the Brahm and as reiterated by his alter ego Sri Krishna are followed and accepted and acted upon in the society, the same could avoid degeneration, degradation, inequality, selfishness, excessive materialism, escapism from social obligations, depravity all around. But, unfortunately, the self-seekers, the selfish ones, and the ignoramus have caused deliberate distortions in preaching and practicing the teachings etc. of the Brahm, and as reiterated by his alter ego Sri Krishna. A careful reading of Numbers 6 to 8 of ch.4 will show their wide amplitude and many effects. Therefore, the following submissions are being made. 1. Brahm Ishwar did not personally manifest himself on the earth. He manifested his alter ego Sri Krishna. 2. In view of the clear language and message set out in Shlok Numbers 6 to 8 of chapter 4, no one can state that ever since the manifestation of Sri Krishna there has been any, wrongly termed as incarnate, alter ego of the Brahm Ishwar till today. No alter ego of the Ishwar Brahm has been manifested after Sri Krishna. 3. Also, there cannot be any foretelling of the appearance or manifestation of an alter ego, wrongly termed as incarnate, because the provisions of Shlok Numbers 6, 7 and 8 of chapter 4 clearly show that it is the Brahm Ishwar who alone has to decide if the situation in any part of the universe exists as described in the shloks. Nobody else can foretell about the appearance or manifestation or birth of an alter ego, wrongly termed as incarnate, of the Brahm Ishwar. Therefore, any such prophecy made was and is false. Such prophecies should be ignored by everyone. 4. Since there could have been no prophecy about an alter ego, wrongly termed as incarnate, it will be wholly erroneous for anyone to say that any particular person answered that description. This is quite misleading, being false. Sikhism. Guru Gobind Singh, a true follower of Sri Krishna after Sri Krishna, no alter ego. 5. Truly following Sri Krishna and the Bhagwat Gita, Guru Gobind Singh took corrective steps. By acting as human agency, created the Khalsa to fight the Mughal tyranny, to protect Sanatan Dharma, to stop forcible conversions etc. Sikhism is very much a part of Sanatan Dharma. 6. It will be wholly erroneous to say that Sikhism does not accept the concept of alter egos of the Brahm Ishwar. Only by way of 2 examples, it is stated that in teachings of Guru Nanak, name of Sri Ram occurs more than 100 times and he venerates Sri Ram. 2. Other names of Sri Krishna like Gobind, Gopala, Kanha, endearing names of Sri Krishna, as an alter ego of the Brahm Ishwar occur many times and he venerates Sri Krishna. These names of Sri Ram and Sri Krishna are strewn into the pages of Guru Granth Sahib at scores of places in obeisance. Please see inter alia pages 26, 46, 51, 60, 70, 90, 94, 96, 99, 100, 214, 221, 251, 279 etc. Volumes 1 and 2, Mahila 1, Guru Granth Sahib. Furthermore, the very names of some of the Sikh Gurus like Guru Gobind Singh, Guru Ram Das etc. follow the names of the alter egos of the Brahm Ishwar. 7. In the verses of other saints like Kabir, Das, the above names of the alter egos Sri Ram and Sri Krishna are found at many places. These names are used for the alter egos of the Ishwar and in veneration. 8. A conjoint reading of Shlok Numbers 7 and 8 of chapter 4 shows that the Brahm's alter ego Sri Krishna has indicated certain principles of good governance in the society. 9. Numbers 6 to 8 of ch.4 clearly indicate what conditions a society should have or should not have. The expression common people refers to the public in general. Therefore, the tests laid down are: I. is the action for public good and in public interest. This is the test followed and adopted in Constitution of India. Therefore, all public functionaries including constitutional institutions like the Parliament, assemblies, courts etc. have to function in public interest. 2. Is the action right or according to what ought to be have been done, dharma? 3. Are the common people happy? Will the common people remain happy? Existence of various factors is necessary for happiness. For example, A. Education, details given below, C4, B. Sufficient food and clothing, C. Shelter, D. Security, E. Self-respect, F. Avoidance of a wide financial and social gap between persons, G. Maximum equality in all spheres. 4. Sufficient opportunity for good education in all spheres, particularly encouraging rationality and investigation, inquiry and the teachings etc. Bhagwat Gita of the Brahm and his alter ego Shri Krishna. V. Conditions disallowing causes of oppression, arbitrariness etc., growth of evildoers etc. in all spheres. Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. 6. Permanent agencies to oversee the entire spectrum of activities in the society and to suggest corrective measures. In the event of failure to correct the wrong immediately, to itself take steps for corrections so that the necessity of the Brahm to manifest an alter ego does not come about. Why should anyone not discharge the duties correctly and promptly? The above said agencies should require everyone in the society to discharge his obligations and duties to the society, to his occupation etc. correctly and promptly. 4.9. Moksha. Auto-elevation. Battle of Mahabharat. Honor of women. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 9. Whoever realizes, understands the reality of my divine creation, follows activities including reiteration of the teachings etc. of the Brahm and practices them, he may not be reborn after he gives up his material body, O Arjun. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self, speaks. It is suggested that Shlok number 9 of chapter 4 be read with Shlok numbers 4 to 8 of chapter 4. Shri Krishna in the present Shlok indicates to Arjuna of Shri Krishna's reality of being the Brahm's alter ego and his divine creation manifestation as Shri Krishna in that period of time. The process thereof has been explained in Shlok number 6 of chapter 4. The reasons therefore have been set out in Shlok numbers 7 and 8 of chapter 4. Brahm himself may assume any or different bodies. Brahm may achieve any object or purpose without assuming any other material body. Further, he may attain the same objective through his alter ego. Brahm Ishwar does not descend, take birth. Shri Krishna also reminds Arjuna of his various activities which have a divine quality. Shri Krishna's teachings and activities have the divine qualities and purpose. A person should understand and do his activities, which include following of Brahm's teachings etc. on correct action, Karma Yoga, and correct knowledge, Jnana Yoga, correct analysis, Buddhi Yoga, etc. and should perform his duties accordingly. Please see inter alia, Shlok numbers 47, 48, 50 of chapter 2. Such a person acting living accordingly may reach the eternal abode, moksha, without aiming at it after death. Please also see inter alia, Shlok numbers 50, 51, 72 of chapter 2. It may be relevant to point out that in Shlok number 61 of chapter 2, Shri Krishna has observed in the same way as in the present one, about following of Brahm's activities, teaching etc., meditating upon me matpare. In the present shlok, the word used is activities, karma. Difference between the two shlok numbers 61 of chapter 2 and 9 of chapter 4 is that in the later shlok, there is reiteration of the principle that a person may reach Brahm without aiming at it and as auto-elevation. The above are the words of Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna. Shlok number 9 of chapter 4 is clearest proof that the Brahm does not descend or take birth. Brahm is immortal and eternal as stated in Shlok number 3 of chapter 8. Therefore, when Shlok number 9 of chapter 4 talks of divine origin, it cannot be a reference to the Brahm. This is a clear reference to the Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna. 4.10 Moksha, Practice Teachings etc. The trio. Auto-elevation. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 10. Many persons who have got over, free from, the feelings of attachment, fear and anger, part of trio, and taken guidance from and followed Brahm's and Shri Krishna's teachings etc. with full sincerity and who had profound correct knowledge, have reached the Brahm. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna speaks as the second self. Shlok number 61 of chapter 2. Numbers 9 and 10 of chapter 4 may be read together. In the shlok, Shri Krishna observed that there are many persons who have understood and followed Brahm's and his teachings, conduct and activities. What he is referring to is the class of persons who have fully understood the applied intellect, buddhi yoga, including rationality, sankhya, correct knowledge, jnana, and correct action, karma yoga, as set out inter alia in shlok numbers 39, 47 to 57 of chapter 2 and numbers 19 and 20 of chapter 3. In the above shlok, there is only a passing reference to what has already been detailed under chapter 2. In this shlok, Shri Krishna has given his view after declaring that he is the Brahm's alter ego. For the sake of convenience of understanding, it is submitted that the Brahm's takings and as reiterated by his alter ego Shri Krishna are set out in chapter 2 and 3 generally, but particular attention is drawn inter alia to shlok numbers 39, 47, 48, 50 to 53, 55 to 57, 61, 65, 67, 72 of chapter 2, 19, 20 of chapter 3, 6 to 9, 39 of chapter 4. Thus, Shri Krishna in the above shlok reiterates that through action and conduct, a person may attain moksha nirvana without aiming at it and as auto-elevation. It may be noticed and kept in view that the aspects of intention and expectation mentioned in second, and part of shlok number 39 of chapter to have been synthesized and unified with the aspects of applied intellect, buddhi yoga, including rationality, sankhya, and correct knowledge, jnana, and correct action, karma yoga, in later part of chapter 2 itself. The sermon of Bhagwat Gita proceeds on that synthesized unified basis generally. It is proper to notice that so far in Bhagwat Gita, there is not a whisper in favor of bhakti by way of recitation of mantras, hymns, ceremonials, worship, praises, fasting, austerities, personal discomfiture etc. 4.11 It is easy not to work. It is easy to sing praises, to light lamps, etc. To each according to his work action. Ishwar speaks. Verse number 11. Those people who know that the Brahm repays according to their activities actions, they should fully follow Brahm's line, path, teachings etc. in all respect, O Parth. Comments. The second self-alter ego Sri Krishna speaks as the self, the Brahm. In the above shlok, Sri Krishna has clarified that a person is given the result according to his action and conduct. Reference may also be made to shlok number 23 of chapter 3, where the second part of the above shlok is also stated in the second part of the shlok number 23 of chapter 3. The shlok clearly lays down that each person living being gets according to his its deeds. 4.12. It is easy to be selfish and to be disunited. It is easy to be overrun and ruled by outsiders. Fruitive ceremonies. Ishwar speaks. Verse number 12. Some persons in this world resort to the fruitive ceremony of sacrificial fire, Havan, in order to please placate the deities, in the hope of obtaining the benefits, result, by this action quickly. Comments. The second self-alter ego Sri Krishna speaks as the self, the Brahm. Reference may please be made to shlok numbers 42, 43, 52, 53, 39 and 49 of chapter 2, 3, 4 and 39 of chapter 3 also. The above view is also negatived and rendered superfluous by number 11 of ch 4. 4.13. Division of work. Nature and quality. Ishwar speaks. Verse number 13. Brahm has determined 4 categories of human activities according to the quality of performance and nature of work. Although the Brahm determined the 4 categories, but you should understand him as the eternal non-doer. See comments. Comments. The second self-alter ego Sri Krishna speaks as the self, the Brahm. 1. In the above shlok, 4 broad categories of work in the society have been referred to. Since this categorization is on the basis of work and quality of work, it is obvious that a person doing a particular nature of work will fall in a particular category. If he changes the nature of his work, his category will also naturally change. Therefore, the category of a person cannot be determined by his birth. Sri Krishna has mentioned the 4 categories on the basis of the work and the quality of performance required to do that work as identified by the Brahm. Reference is made to shlok numbers 22 and 23 of chapter 3, where he specifically tells Arjun that although the Brahm need not do any work, still he keeps doing some work. Sri Krishna has made a difference in work of the Brahm and the ordinary work in human society as alter ego of the Brahm. He was manifested for achieving specific purposes as mentioned in shlok numbers 7 and 8 of chapter 4. 2. The work that he performs as Brahma's alter ego is described by him to be understood as of a non-doer, a karta. The concept of non-doer, a karta, can be applied to the activities of the living beings when the activity is non-fruitive and without attachment, etc. Shlok number 14 of chapter 4 clarifies the concept of a non-doer. 3. The above shlok also contains a reply contradiction to the question apprehension of Arjun mentioned in shlok numbers 40 and 42 of chapter 1. Reference to the word varna in shlok number 40 of chapter 1 has been clarified to mean broad division of the nature and quality of work. 4. A reference to shlok numbers 9 to 13 of chapter 3 shows that there is no reference to the 4 categories wrongly termed as castes amongst the initial living beings mentioned in the said shlok. This means that said castes were not created by the Brahm Ishwar. As the developments in the society progressed and number of activities were undertaken by humans, it was then that the Brahm identified ascertained the four categories mentioned in Shlok number 13 of chapter 4. Therefore, it may be safely said that the Brahm had not created the four castes, but very broadly identified the four categories according to work. Note: the word Srastam has more than one meaning is according to dictionaries. One meaning is Niske. Translation of this word into English will be ascertained, identified. Please see page number 1212, Sanskrit Hindi Dictionary, and edition, published by Kamal Prakashan, Daryaganj, Delhi. According to Oxford Hindi English Dictionary, page number 573, impression, 2007, the English translation of the word Niske is identified, ascertained. 4.14. Non-doer. When. Inaction, akarm. Difference. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 14. My actions do not burden me with their reactions. I have no desire, longing, nor my action is fruitive. Thus, the persons who truly know me, follow my teachings, conduct etc., do not cause any sinful action, an action which burdens him. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self, speaks. Shlok numbers 14 to 23 of chapter 4 may be read together. This shlok clarifies that whatever Shri Krishna does being not sinful, there is no reaction or burden of the action on Shri Krishna. The persons who practice and follow Brahm's Shri Krishna's teachings etc., their actions will not be sinful. In the previous shlok numbers 32, 37, 38, 39, 51, 72 of chapter 2 also, Shri Krishna has stated the different circumstances in which Arjun's action, including one of fighting and killing, will not be sinful. Arjun's actions in those circumstances will not have any adverse reaction. Shlok numbers 14 and 15 of chapter 4 clearly lay down that irrespective of the work activity being carried on by a person, if it is being pursued in accordance with the teachings etc. of the Brahm and Shri Krishna, and the person also lives his life in accordance with those teachings etc., his action will not be called sinful or wrongful. In the above shlok, what is worthy of great attention is that the Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna does not hide behind his divine origin with divine powers, being the alter ego of Brahm. In the previous shlok number 13 of chapter 4, the expression non-doer has been used for Brahm himself. Thereafter, Shri Krishna has spoken about himself. The above position leads one to the conclusion that both the Brahm and his alter ego Shri Krishna are laying down the same tests for themselves to answer the description non-doer. The tests are also applied to humans who answer the description non-doer. The humility and sense of fairness is incomparable. The humans are being treated on a par with the Brahm and Shri Krishna. Reference may be made inter alia to shlok number 19 of chapter 4, where the two tests are indicated for the humans. It will be proper to understand the use of the word in action, akarm, vis.avis. The expression non-doer. This expression has been used to indicate the person who has taken correct action in accordance with the above tests. Therefore, there is no adverse effect on him. The word inaction, akarm, is not to be confused with the expression non-doer. The word inaction, akarm, very broadly speaking means not taking action. For details please see inter alia, shlok numbers 15 to 20 of chapter 4. For the above said reasons, Shri Krishna's actions do not result in sin. Therefore, he can also be called a non-doer. 4.15 Prescribed duty. Moksha. Ishwar speaks. Verse number 15. In the past, those ultimately desiring moksha nirvan practiced, performed activity work, what I have stated earlier. Therefore, you should follow their footsteps, according to them, and do your duty, perform your activity work, as was done in the ancient time. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Sri Krishna speaks as the self, the Brahm. This shlok may be read with Numbers 14 to 23 of chapter 4. Sri Krishna has specifically mentioned the name of King Janak. 4.16 Sinful. Inaction, not taking action. Action explained. Sri Krishna speaks. Verse number 16. I, Sri Krishna, will explain action, beneficial or without ill effect, karma, and inaction, not taking action, beneficial or with ill effect, akarma, as even the knowledgeable persons feel bewildered on this issue of action, all-inclusive, and after knowing which, you will be saved from any sinful action inaction. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Sri Krishna, the second self, speaks. Shlok numbers 14 to 23 of chapter 4 may be read together. For action without ill effects, reference is invited to Shlok numbers 2, 32, 33, 39, 40, 47 to 56, 71 of chapter 2, 9, 30 to 32 chapter 3, 14 of chapter 4, etc. The aforesaid shloks refer to discharge of one's duties leading resulting in a place in heaven, higher planets and moksha nirvan without aiming at them. In this shlok, Sri Krishna touches upon a very sensitive, important and vast subject matter. The object of this part of the sermon is to clarify as to when an inaction can be sinful. Reference may be made to Shlok number 33 chapter 2 where Sri Krishna clearly lays down that if Arjun being a professional soldier and a Kshatriya, his, Arjun's, inaction, akarma, not fighting, will be sinful. Under modern law also, inaction, akarma, of not disclosing certain facts has been considered as fraudulent. As for example, Section 17 of the Indian Contract Act. Similarly, the concept of public servants being held responsible for failure to discharge their duties may result in civil or criminal liability on them. There are any number of examples where a person trained in warfare is compelled by the state society to take up arms and fight. Sri Krishna was exhorting Arjun, a Kshatriya and professional warrior, to discharge his duty for the common good. The word action, without ill effect, karma, broadly, will also include inaction, not taking action, akarma. But, in the above shlok, action and not taking action have been described separately. Also, in the shlok, such inaction, not taking action, akarma, may be sinful as already mentioned in shlok number 33 of chapter 2. For further elaboration discussion, please also refer to shlok number 12 of chapter 18. 4.17 Karma, action good neutral. Akarma, inaction with ill effect. Vikram, harmful action. Clear knowledge. Sri Krishna speaks. Verse number 17. Action, beneficial or without ill effect, karma, and inaction, not taking action, beneficial or with ill effect, akarma, though difficult, should be understood. The harmful action, vikram, should also be understood. The working unfolding of actions, all inclusive, should be understood. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Sri Krishna, the second self, speaks. Shlok numbers 14 to 23 to chapter 4 may be read together. In this shlok, Shri Krishna is referring to the negative aspects of action, karma. Not only the object of action should be right, but also the manner of doing or achieving that object should be right. If the object is not right or the manner of doing action is not right or not acting when obligated, these will lead to ill effects and be morally incorrect. The exception is when the object to be achieved is so vital and urgent that the manner of doing it or achieving it becomes subservient to the object. Both the manner of doing an action, karma, as well as the result are covered by the word vikram, harmful action, according to this shlok. Modern laws prescribe permit action to be taken in urgent or vital matters immediately. Under the Constitution of India, even the fundamental rights can be subjected to exceptions in certain circumstances. The major consideration is the common good. Modern law also has the concept of giving an opportunity to the person to be affected adversely before the action is taken against him. But in urgent matters action is allowed and thereafter opportunity is given to the affected person post facto hearing. 4.18 Wise man. When action or inaction? Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 18. A person who can realize as to when action may tantamount to action beneficial or without ill effect, karma, and also realizes as to when inaction not taking action, akarma, may have ill effect or not, he is a wise man and knows as to what, action inaction, should be done and when. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self speaks. Shlok numbers 14 to 23 of chapter 4 may be read together. 4.19 Expert described. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 19. A person whose complete shown conduct, including action and inaction not taking action, purified by the fire of correct knowledge, correct analysis, applied intellect including rationality sankhya, and correct decision, not inspired by longing or fruitive result, is described as an expert by the wise people. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self speaks. Shlok numbers 14 to 23 of chapter 4 may be read together. The above shlok is self-explanatory. This is a general description of an expert. Different persons may be working in different activities which require different nature of knowledge, etc. The above shloks states the right practices for any type of work. Shri Krishna's description of an expert will include a person who knows how to lead his life. Reference may be made inter alia to shlok number 11 of chapter 2, where the word Pandit has also been used. 4.20 Daily life. Adverse effects. When? Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 20. A person may be involved in different activities work. But if the same are without attachment and without expectation longing for any particular fruit, not dependent on them, desire attachment, and is contented, then such a person will still be described as doing work activities without ill effects. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self speaks. Shlok numbers 14 to 23 of chapter 4 may be read together. In the above shlok, Shri Krishna is setting out an example of a person whose activities work can be described as being without ill effects. The reason being that no sin will attach to his activities work. Reference is invited to shlok numbers 38, 47, 49, 50, 55, 72 of chapter 2 and 25 of chapter 3. In the present shlok number 20 of chapter 4 and in the subsequent shlok numbers 21 to 23 chapter 4, the relationship of sin and action or inaction is being explained. 4.21 Daily Life and Conduct. Path without worry. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 21. A person, soul, without fruitive action, keeping impacted consciousness of the soul under control, giving up longing obsession, desire, for possessions, taking care of his bodily needs only and discharging his duties, does not commit a sin. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self speaks. Shlok numbers 14 to 23 of chapter 4 may be read together. What Shri Krishna tells here is that an enlightened and self-controlled soul, excluding fruitive action, not hankering after material possessions, only taking care of his bodily needs and discharging his worldly duties activities, the activities duties of such a person, will not be deficient or sinful. For detailed discussion, please see commentary under Shlok number 9 of chapter 3. This Shlok be read in continuation to Shlok number 9 of chapter 3 which deals with discharge of duties and other shloks mentioned therein. It may be noticed that Shri Krishna has given the same benefit to living beings as to himself for defining not binding effect adverse effect of an action, conduct etc. Please see Shlok number 14 of chapter 4. Also see Shlok numbers 11, 32, 37, 38, 39, 41, 67, 68 of chapter 2 etc. The above Shlok is most important for the lives of all humans. The Shlok clearly sets down the path to be traversed by the humans without all the time worrying about their overstepping the limits of correct conduct. Note. For the meaning of the expression impacted consciousness, sit. Please see inter alia, Shlok numbers 30 to 34 to chapter 1, 14 of chapter 2, 34, 40 of chapter 3, 7 of chapter 15 etc. Also see common note number 5. 4.22 Ordinary person. Discharge of duties. No adverse effects. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 22. A person who is satisfied with what he obtains in the normal course as a result of his activity, who is clear of any doubts, free from envy and remains steady in success or failure, such a person does not get entangled though performing his duties. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self speaks. Shlok numbers 20 to 23 of chapter 4 may be read together as the same also deal with the ordinary person including householder living his life without commission of sin. 4.23 Stoic person. Discharge of duties. No sin. Auto-elevation. Auto-bypass. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 23. The person free from without fruitive action, longing and attachment, and guided by correct knowledge, correct analysis, applied intellect including rationality, correct decision and carries on his life's works, does not result in any sin. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self speaks. Shlok numbers 14 to 23 of chapter 4 may be read together. It may be noticed that Shlok numbers 20 to 23 of chapter 4 form a group. For comments on Shlok number 20 of chapter 4, reference may please also be inter alia made to Shlok number 9 of chapter 3, numbers 11, 14, 32, 37 to 39 of chapter 4. A reading of Shlok numbers 20 to 23 of chapter 4 shows that these have been put in a negative form. Under these, no sin is said to be committed, but in reality leading the life in accordance with these shlokas will result in person reaching the Brahm by auto-bypasses and ultimately by auto-elevation due to his main activity. Please see inter alia, shlok numbers 72 of chapter 2, 30 and 31 of chapter 3, 9 and 10 of chapter 4, etc. 4.24 Life as Trustee. Social Justice. Auto-Elevation. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 24. The offering to Brahm belongs to is created by owned by the Brahm. The oblations including its constituents like ghee etc. as also the sacred fire belong to are created by the Brahm and in that manner to be on way to attaining harmony with the Brahm by the above said acts, offering to the Brahm. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self speaks. Shlok numbers 24 to 31 of chapter 4 form one class category. It is irrational to offer something to the owner thereof because he already has it. In the above shlok, this dichotomy has been noticed. The lack of correct knowledge, Gyan, is exhibited and yet it is thought that ignorance is the path to the Brahm. Moreover, the said acts are fruitive in nature and discouraged in this sermon. However, the feeling that everything belongs to the Brahm is ethical and also useful to the society. This life has been created by and inherently belongs to the Brahm. He is maintaining it. The process of living carrying out activities should be considered as a consecration to the Brahm by all living beings. Please inter alia see Shlok number 64 of chapter 2. This shlok also indicates the very sound social principle leading to greater equality and well-being of the society. All living beings should consider themselves as trustees of everything, to hold and to function as such. The malpractices of unlawful amassing of material wealth or even concentration of power or their misuse will be avoided. This will also lead to the highest social justice and consequently to peace and prosperity. Reference is made to shlok numbers 50 to 53, 55, 64 of chapter 2, 13, 31 of chapter 3, 11 of chapter 4, 7, 12 of chapter 5. Later shloks in chapter 4, shlok numbers 25 to 33 of chapter 4 be read and understood as subject to shlok number 24 of chapter 4. It is submitted that in Shri Krishna's view making of sacrificial fire, Havan, is not of any use. Man's correct actions and not ceremonies can sublime him. The society should follow the course mentioned in Bhagwat Gita, follow the teachings etc. of the Brahm and as reiterated by his alter ego Shri Krishna. In the above shlok, Shri Krishna does not approve of the ceremonial sacrificial fire even for the Brahm. However, the shlok has a silver lining. The shlok is indicative of the concept of trust. This portion in the shlok is not common with other shlok numbers 25 to 32 of chapter 4. The first part of the shlok number 24 of chapter 4 forms a group with shlok numbers 24 to 33 of chapter 4. Shlok number 24 of chapter 4, first part, and shlok numbers 25 to 33 of chapter 4 deal with certain practices including ceremonies which according to the Bhagavad Gita are not sinful. But these practices etc. are insufficient to lead the soul to heaven, higher planets or moksha nirvana. Shri Krishna only notices such practices. He does not approve of these for a man to live by. His prescription for life is correct action, karma yoga, preceded by correct knowledge, Gyan, and applied intellect, Buddhi Yoga, including rationality, Sankhya. Shri Krishna has revealed auto-bypasses to directly auto-elevate a person to merger with the Brahm. Purposeless above said acts will not be resorted to by rational people. This will be a sheer waste of time and money. This is Shri Krishna's way of rejecting or disapproving certain practices, thoughts, ceremonies, etc. For auto-bypasses and auto-elevation inter alia please see Shlok numbers 72 of chapter 2, 9, 30-32 of chapter 3, 9 and 23 of chapter 4. 4.25 Auto-elevation. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 25. Some high priests resort to cause sacrificial fire, Havan, to please the deities. Similarly, some others resort to cause sacrificial fire, Havan, treating the fire therein as sacred fire. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self speaks. Shlok numbers 24-27 and 29-42 of chapter 4 may be read together. In this shlok reference is being made to the practice of performing, offering the oblation, Havan. Shri Krishna has called such persons as high priests. It may be noted that in shlok number 12 of chapter 4, the object of the Havan is stated to be quick gain while in the above shlok, Havan is to please the deities. Here, Shri Krishna is noticing a prevalent practice. He is not approving of even such practices. Such practices which were possibly carried on with the object also of cleansing the air. But such an object could better be served and was being served by some, by planting of plants and trees with specific qualities. In the shlok, Shri Krishna is referring to the method or procedure for looking at any problem. For detailed commentary, please see shlok number 24 of chapter 4. Since Shri Krishna has auto-bypassed to directly auto-elevate the person to merge with the Brahm, purposeless above said acts will not be resorted to by rational people. This will be a sheer waste of time and money. 4.26 Consciousness is the quality only of the soul. Auto-elevation. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 26. Some people offer the oblation to fire of self-control on senses like sense of hearing, etc. Yet, others offer the oblation to fire of senses in regard to sensory objects, speech, etc. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self speaks. Shlok numbers 24-27 and 29-42 of chapter 4 may be read together. The shlok is self-explanatory. Since Shri Krishna has revealed auto-bypasses to directly auto-elevate the person to merge with the Brahm, above said acts will not be resorted to by rational people. This will be a sheer waste of time and money as severe penance and harsh self-mortification are not accepted in the sermon. A very great effort is required to obtain control of the senses. Since consciousness is the quality only of the soul, the soul has to overcome its impacted consciousness. All the efforts have to be made only by the soul. Need of aids and props are only very weak means to make the consciousness fully cleansed. It is only the eternal triad, Avyayam Yogam, as mentioned in shlok number 1 of chapter 4, revealed by Brahm himself that anyone may while discharging one's duties, lead a happy and peaceful life. Ultimately, he may be auto-elevated to merge with the Brahm. The aids and props stated above and mentioned in various shloks of this sermon have been auto-bypassed by the sermon itself, which is one of the teachings etc. of the Brahm and his alter ego Sri Krishna. For detailed commentary, please see Shlok number 24 of chapter 4. 4.27. Sri Krishna speaks. Verse number 27. Many people control all functions to be performed by the senses and also control their functions of breath. Others, self-controlling by the fire of correct action, yoga, perform offer the oblation by way of enlightened knowledge. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Sri Krishna, the second self, speaks. Shlok numbers 24 to 27 and Shlok numbers 29 to 42 of chapter 4 may be read together. For detailed commentary, please see Shlok number 24 of chapter 4. 4.28. Sri Krishna speaks. Verse number 28. Some, after earning the wealth rightly, use their material possessions for charity and common good sincerely and correctly, Dravya Yajana. Others resort to non-severe methods for self-discipline sincerely and correctly, Tappo Yajana, by doing physical exercises meticulously, sincerely and correctly, Yog Yajana, acquiring knowledge by self-education sincerely and correctly and imparting knowledge to others sincerely, Jnana Yajana, and to faithfully discharge the obligations. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Sri Krishna, the second self, speaks. Irrespective of their notorious origin, as noticed earlier, but since these have found a place in this sermon, their contents and connotations must accord with the definition of the word yajana given by the Brahm in Shlok numbers 9 to 13 of chapter 3. This Shlok is applicable to the householders equally. The word yajana has been defined in Shlok number 9 of chapter 3 as under. A duty discharged or an action taken, done with sincerely, correctly and with purity. For detailed commentary, please see Shlok number 24 of chapter 4. Note. The meaning of the expression Sansitavrata has been taken from Sanskrit-English Dictionary, edited and revised by Pandit Ishwar Chandra, edition, 2008, page number 1633, publisher, Parimal Publications, Shakti Nagar, Delhi. 4.29. Sri Krishna speaks. Verse number 29. The process of exhaling and inhaling breath, and secondly controlling the speed of breathing while engrossed in prayer. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Sri Krishna, the second self, speaks. Shlok numbers 24 to 27 and 29 to 42 of chapter 4 may be read together. For detailed commentary, please see Shlok number 24 of chapter 4. Since Sri Krishna has revealed auto-bypasses to directly auto-elevate the person to merge with the Brahm, purposeless above said acts will not be resorted to by rational people. 4.30. Sri Krishna speaks. Verse number 30. By the action of inhaling and exhaling breath and by the regime of control of their diet, they want to cleanse away their sins. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Sri Krishna, the second self, speaks. Shlok numbers 24 to 27, 29 to 42 of chapter 4 may be read together. For detailed commentary, please see Shlok number 24 of chapter 4. Since Sri Krishna has revealed auto-bypasses to directly auto-elevate the person to merge with the Brahm, purposeless above said acts will not be resorted to by rational people. 4.31. Sri Krishna speaks. Verse number 31. Those who enjoy the material possessions which have been earned by correct action and saved after rightful disbursements should be expended on leading of correct life. They may reach the eternal Brahm. Those who do not live life correctly in the above fashion, even this life is worthless. Such a person cannot have a better world elsewhere, O best of Kuru. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self speaks. Shlok numbers 24 to 27, 29 to 42 of chapter 4 may be read together. Reference may be made to Shlok numbers 64, 65 of chapter 2 and also to be 13 of chapter 3. For detailed commentary, please see Shlok number 24 of chapter 4. The literal meanings of certain words in the above shlok fail to convey the true intent. Therefore, the meanings adopted are in view of the context and for clear understanding. 4.32 Ancient Most Knowledge. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 32. Any types of ceremonies are widely stated by the high priests as yajanas. These particular ceremonies etc. should be understood considered as caused by actions, karmas. If correctly understood in this fashion, one may be free from doubts and bewilderment. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self speaks. Shlok numbers 24 to 27, 29 to 42 of chapter 4 may be read together. What we are being taught in the above shlok is that the above mentioned sacrificial fires, ceremonies etc. are effects of past actions of inferior quality. These ceremonies etc. are not to be treated as actions, karmas, by themselves. Therefore, actions as correct actions have to be undertaken by us and which will provide a bypass to the above mentioned sacrificial fires, ceremonies etc. In the above shlok, Shri Krishna is referring to the various acts being traded around the sacrificial fire, havan, or other ceremonies. A righteous act in life is in the nature of a correct action, yajana. Shri Krishna wants the entire life to be sincerely lived according to the teachings etc. of the Brahm and as reiterated by his alter ego Shri Krishna. In Shlok numbers 9 to 13 of chapter 3 inter alia the following is said by the Brahm himself in No. 10 of Ch. 3, the Creator, Brahm Ishwar, in the beginning and in antiquity, by his well-meaning and benevolent action, Sahayajana, created the universe as also created the living beings. The Creator, Brahm Ishwar, blessed and spoke thus, in the same spirit by your well-meaning action duty you living beings may multiply, prosper and progress and have rightful wishes achieved. Above Shlok number 10 of chapter 3 clearly and irrefutably shows that the word yajana was used by the Brahm to refer to a well-meaning action discharge of duty. It is later on that this word came to be used for a large number of ceremonies including havans and different acts like giving of charities, resorting to penance, austerities etc. and were described as yajana. Such practices should not have been resorted to. The original meaning of the word yajana as given by the Brahm himself and as followed by Shri Krishna should be adhered to. Please see comments under Shlok number 28 of chapter 4 for correct understanding of some of the specified yajanas. The above Shlok has been interpreted as above in view of Shlok numbers 9 to 13 of chapter 3 and the teachings etc. so far given. Shlok number 32 of chapter 4 is preceded by contents of Shlok number 31 and followed by contents of Shlok number 33 of chapter 4. Therefore, this Shlok takes its color from said two Shloks. Also see inter alia comments under Shlok number 25 of chapter 4 Shlok numbers 48, 53 and 54 of chapter 11. 4.33. Consciousness is the quality only of the soul. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 33. Correct knowledge, Gyan, is better than the sacrificial fire, Havan, performed by material things, O Parth. All action must be completely informed by knowledge till the end, O chastiser of enemies. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self, speaks. Shlok numbers 24 to 27, 29 to 42 of chapter 4 may be read together. As may have already been noticed in previous Shlok numbers 49, 50, 51, 55 of chapter 2, applied intellect, correct knowledge, Buddhi Yog, Gyan Yog, have been laid down by Shri Krishna as most worthy of being achieved. It is worth repeating the following extract from the comments made under Shlok number 55 of chapter 2. Shri Krishna described the applied intellect, correct knowledge, Buddhi Yog, Gyan Yog, at its best. The extract is, consciousness may in stages one after the other, achieve control of the working of the intellect and control of the senses. The entire process of control of intellect, senses and body is required to become a stoic, overcoming impacted consciousness. To develop an analytical approach to information available is required to become a stoic. It may be noticed that a person who takes action without expecting any particular fruit result for his benefit may be described as a man of correct action, Karma Yogi, and his action is correct action, Karma Yoga. This is yet another requirement to be a stoic. Broadly speaking, in this Shlok knowledge yajna, Gyan yajna, has been described to have similarities with the word correct knowledge, Gyan Yoga, but includes imparting of education to others also. In Shlok numbers 9 and 10 of chapter 3 etc., the word yajna has been described by the Brahm in a different and much wider sense than sacrificial fire. 4.34. Gaining knowledge. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 34. Further, correct knowledge, Gyan, can be known by anyone by humbly clearing the doubts by the opinion of the knowledgeable ones who know the truth. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self, speaks. Shlok numbers 24 to 27, 29 to 42 of chapter 4 may be read together. This Shlok may be read along with the previous Shlok number 33 of chapter 4. In Shlok number 33 of chapter 4, reference has been invited to certain Shloks in chapter 2, 3 and 4. Note this common note is for the words te in the above Shlok and the word asi in Shlok number 35 of chapter 4, Shlok number 36 of chapter 4, which mean anyone because the English translation of these two words is you. But in the context the word you is described as below. IASI, you, 2 Sanskrit Hindi Dictionary, writer, V.S. Apte, page number 150, published by Kamal Prakashan, Daryaganj, New Delhi. 2 you refers to an unspecified person or people in general, Collins English Dictionary, edition, 2009, page number 627. 3 you, in general statements, 1. A person, anyone or everyone, illustrated Oxford Dictionary revised and updated, page number 968. For note no 2, see below commentary under next Shlok number 35 of chapter 4. 4.35. Knowledge, knowledge and knowledge. Ishwar speaks. Verse number 35. Having correct knowledge, Gyan, anyone will not have attachment again and he will understand and know the correct relationship between other living beings and the Brahm, O son of Pandu. Comments. The second self alter ego Shri Krishna speaks as the self, the Brahm. Shlok numbers 24 to 27, 29 to 42 of chapter 4 may be read together. The translation of Shlok numbers 33 to 36 of chapter 4 has been made in view of the context, the collocation and the circumstances in which the sermon was delivered. Guidance has also been taken from Shlok numbers 37 to 41 of chapter 4. Shlok numbers 37 to 41 of chapter 4 addressed in general terms, as if the person addressed is a third person. In Shlok numbers 33 to 36 of chapter 4 also it is the third, IIRD, person who is being addressed because Shri Krishna has already given the required knowledge to Arjun and he, Arjun, was not expected to go away from the battlefield and learn the lessons from some other persons. 4.36 Knowledge and Knowledge. Atonement. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 36. After knowing or gaining the correct knowledge, if anyone was the sinner and his sins the maximum, will be able to sail over all the sins and go to the higher planets heaven on the ark of knowledge. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self speaks. Shlok numbers 24 to 27, 29 to 42 of chapter 4 may be read together. What the above shlok really conveys is that on obtaining the correct knowledge, Gyan, the person concerned will rectify his thoughts, actions and life. He will follow the correct path laid by the teachings etc. of the Brahm and of his alter ego Shri Krishna. After such a person has atoned for the past sins whether in one life or more, he will ultimately sail over to higher planets. The essence of the teaching is that it is never too late nor too much to learn more. Note. The word atone means do penance, make amends, make reparation, pay the penalty, pay the price, page number 42 Oxford Dictionary and Thesaurus 3, 15th impression 2008. 4.37 Knowledge scares away sins. Higher planets. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 37. Just as the fire burns the firewood into ashes, O Arjun, similarly, the fire of knowledge, the effect of perfect knowledge, will temper control all actions to cause benevolent holy effects. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self speaks. Shlok numbers 24 to 27, 29 to 42 of chapter 4 may be read together. The above shlok be correctly understood in view of the knowledge imparted and teachings etc. set out in the sermon. In particular, reference is invited inter alia to shlok numbers 32, 37, 39, 51, 72 of chapter 2. If correct action is taken, sinful results will not follow but good effects of actions will be caused. Reference is also invited to shlok numbers 20 to 27 of chapter 1, 13, 15, 44 to 46, 51 to 58, 68 to 72 of chapter 2, 19 and 20 of chapter 3 etc. Reference is also invited inter alia to 31, 32, 61, 64 to 72 of chapter 2, 10 to 13, 22, 24 and 30 to 32 of chapter 3. 4.38 Knowledge on top only as part of means. Living of life. Auto-elevation. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 38. Thus, in this world, there is nothing equal to or purer than knowledge, Gyan. No further, that by constant application and attaining perfection in due course of time, one may realize the self. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self, speaks. Shlok numbers 24 to 27, 29 to 42 of chapter 4 may be read together. This shlok may please be read along with shlok numbers 44 to 46, 52 of chapter 2, 17 of chapter 3 and 33 of chapter 4 to correctly understand the width of its effects. A self-realized person has been described in the shlok referred to herein. The shlok also reiterates that for any society, learning is of the highest importance. In this sermon, repeated stress has been laid by Shri Krishna on acquisition of correct knowledge and correct understanding of that information. Correct knowledge, jnana, and applied intellect, buddhi yoga, including rationality, sankhya, are the very basis of this sermon. Self-realization explained. Reference may please be made to shlok number 13 of chapter 4 in which Shri Krishna has placed the learned persons as the first requirement of the society. Following the teachings etc. of the Brahma, and Shri Krishna leads a person to a full understanding of his relationship with the Brahma Ishwar as also of living of the life in the world, self-realization. If a self-realized person is to be described in one word, that will be a stoic as mentioned inter alia in shlok numbers 13, 15, 44, 45, 46 of chapter 2. Reference may also be made to shlok number 39 of chapter 2. Reference may also be made to shlok number 50 of chapter 2 which defines yoga to include doing taking of all actions correctly and skillfully. 4.39. Stoic. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 39. The faithful, the believer, in the teachings etc., attains knowledge, jnana, and after controlling his senses, will quickly, readily, attain capability and the state of complete equilibrium, a stoic. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self, speaks. Shlok numbers 24 to 27, 29 to 42 of chapter 4 may be read together. The shlok may please be read inter alia with shlok numbers 20 to 27 of chapter 1, 13, 15, 44 to 46, 51 to 58, 68 to 72 of chapter 2, 17, 19, 20 of chapter 3. 4.40. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 40. An ignorant person and a disbeliever, and who is a doubting one, certainly ruins himself. A doubting person cannot be satisfied, be happy, in this world and in the other world. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self, speaks. Shlok numbers 24 to 27, 29 to 42 of chapter 4 may be read together. 4.42. Shri Krishna speaks. Verse number 42. Therefore, burn out ignorance implanted in the heart, all doubts about correct knowledge, jnana, be stoutly cleared, dispelled in yourself with the sword of knowledge. You should be situated in the eternal triad, eternal conjointness, with your arms to fight like a stoic, O Bharat. Comments. Brahm's alter ego Shri Krishna, the second self, speaks. Shlok numbers 24 to 27 of chapter 4, Shlok number 29 to 42 of chapter 4 may be read together. In the above shlok, Shri Krishna once again exhorts Arjuna to rid his soul of any doubts in view of the clear enunciation of the concept of correct action, karma yoga, and correct knowledge, jnana, applied intellect, buddhi yoga, including rationality, sankhya, and as to how the correct knowledge, jnana, applied intellect, buddhi yoga, including rationality, control and guide the actions, karmas, of a Stoic. The word eternal triad conjointness, yog, in the above shlok, would include correct knowledge, jnana, applied intellect, buddhi yog, including rationality combined with correct action, karma yog, as earlier stated under shlok numbers 48, 49, 50 and 55 of chapter 2 and as referred to in shlok number 1 of chapter 4. Reference may usefully be made to shlok number 39 of chapter 2 and 38 of chapter 4. Reference may also be made inter alia shlok number 48-50 of chapter 2 which explain eternal conjointness combination eternal triad, avyayam yogam, to include doing taking of all actions correctly and skillfully. It is proper to notice that so far in Bhagwat Gita, there is not a whisper in favor of bhakti by way of recitation of mantras, hymns, ceremonials, worship, praises, fasting, austerities, personal discomfiture, etc.